Prince Abdulaziz, I wanted to ask you about the market situation. It seems that they're shrugging off this deal, though it was historic, the largest ever in terms of cuts, and end the price war. But we're seeing, the market relatively flat.
Well, the size is large, quite large, and larger than what you see now, because this is only talking about what OPEC Plus is doing, which is exactly 12.5 million barrels. When you take the 9.7 plus the addition that we're putting from today's our production in April, which is another 1.3, and another million from the UAE, and about 500,000 from Kuwait. So you will have an OPEC Plus of a total 12.5 million. In the G20, we've adhered, and many members, including the visiting or invited guest numbers, to the magnitude of about approximately 7 million. So that, if you can total it, it would be 19 and a half. I think Mr. Bureau of the IEA is going to make an announcement of some of these numbers in Wednesday. Half of it would be a good part of it would be production reductions, and part of it would be a 2-month program to enhance the SPR. So maybe the fact is also that last week we had quite a remarkable improvement in prices. So the good old proverb, you buy into the rumors and sell into the fact or the news is here. But I'm quite sure that if the other producers come through with their pledges, you will have an incredible number that I don't think anybody in his right mindset would have ever thought that the whole world would cooperate to the magnitude that we're seeing now.
The market still seems pretty uncertain and quite fragile when you look at the demand side. Do you think you're going to have to potentially wait off on tapering and cut a little bit deeper in June?
Well, we're keeping all options open. I think the new spirit and the new life and the new arrangements, including cooperation with the other producers, mindful of their national circumstances, including the new spirit within OPEC and Plus, and what else to demonstrate than the magnitude of this, the size of this deal, as a way to show the whole world that we are here, up and running, and acting responsibly and responsively. With that in mind, it doesn't take a hero to predict that this whole arrangement, be it structured or be it generically created as a result of this extraordinary situation, would not also be attentive to any further requirements that may happen. We're still hopeful that this situation can be mitigated within the next couple of months, or less uncertainty will prevail as opposed to more uncertainty. And I hope that once we turn that to that curve, away from the descending curve, things will be a lot better, and things will be. But in terms of readiness, yes, I believe I can speak of Saudi Arabia, that as long as all of our partners, be it at OPEC Plus or outside OPEC Plus, are ready to do anything necessary, we will be the first to commit and the last to abandon our commitment.
But just 5 weeks ago, you and Russia were headed towards a quite nasty divorce. Where does this leave the relationship now? Say all is said and done in 2 years, could we see another price war potentially come back?
Well, I will carry on with your metaphor. I wouldn't call it a nasty divorce, but like any family, they go through differences. But usually families, they keep it to their inner circles and indoors, and it is always sorted. But it all depends on the bond of the family. The bond of this family, OPEC Plus, is strong, and like any family, they go through turbulences, but it actually improves the resilience of any family once they go through some troubling time and they sort them out. So I'm perfectly happy to say that, as I said earlier, we're up running, and as a family, we're much more resilient and much more strong to weather any potential crisis that may emerge in the future.
Is the United States now part of this family, Prince Abdulaziz? We saw President Donald Trump.
We are not sorry to disappoint divorce lawyers. We don't need any divorce lawyers.
Well, I want to know who was the most important people in this deal? We've seen President Trump tweet a lot about it. Are you surprised that an American president is pushing for higher oil prices?
No, he's not. Certainly, it is not my job to defend the president. But I will have to be fair to him and speak up with the truth. The truth is a responsible president. The truth that he sees the industry, which is creating jobs, creating communities, creating growth, creating income, creating prosperity, big contributor to GDP, creating service sectors, is to be protected and its well-being being looked after. I hate to see any president of any country that would not do that job.
Prince Abdulaziz, I just want to ask you finally about Mexico. Thursday evening, we know the Mexican oil minister, she actually walked off and left. Tough negotiations, and they ended up having a bit of a diplomatic victory, only cutting 100,000 barrels a day. Are you worried what kind of precedent this would set for some of these smaller producing countries?
No, she didn't walk out with the meaning of walking off. She had other things to do, but the next day she was with us at the G20, and yes, last night she attended the meeting. In fact, she was gracious enough to ask me, as being the host of the event, whether if I can agree to the terms and the conditions of the agreement, and I did. I think it was in the public domain. I told her I will go with the consensus. I think one of our oversights in dealing deals like this is that we did not looked at the magnitude of the situation and the amount of cuts that that we asked Mexico to do, and that's a statement of fact. What we have agreed with them now is not the end of the story. We agreed for the 2 months they will do that. We're still going to be talking with them on certain ways and means of enhancing their commitments and obligations. However, they have their own constitutional issues that they are mindful of, and I must confess that there was a bit of an oversight from us in that area. But I have no doubt that I will not question their commitment. I would not question their ability to do whatever they can do if it is within the ability of the government to do, pertinent to their constitution and their government structure and the relationship between the government and the legislative bodies.